So dudes, welcome back to the Gregor Gaming Experience. I hope you're having a good day. I'm uploading this really late. I understand that it might not be what you were expecting with Ozami out right now, but I did take a couple of days off over the course of the weekend very recently, where I wasn't able to get the video done quite on time as timely as I wanted it to be. This was a trip that we had planned multiple times, and then it got delayed, and it got delayed, and it delayed, and delayed again, and then it finally happened. And by the time it got to the point where we had all finally agreed on a time and date to actually do it, I was caught, right? Because I couldn't delay it again. It happened so many times, and it just so happened to coincide with the release of the new patch, which was very frustrating, because I was planning around the patch, Demon Vale getting to live servers a week earlier than when it actually dropped. So it was originally slated for March 8th, and then it got delayed by a week. Very frustrating. You know, it is what it is, and with no like map rework or new map to really like look at least for the time being, right? Obviously the new map is coming later. My options for new content for Demon Vale are kind of limited in those regards, because for whatever reason, I wasn't able to do the capture event for Demon Vale. Now, it was not as a result of me, as far as I know, it wasn't as a result of me pivoting away from Siege to Valorant content, right? It wasn't a numbers dip issue. It wasn't a behavior issue in terms of the content that I was uploading or what I was, you know, the bullshit that I said on Twitter. There was a logistical screw up. I still have a point of contact at Ubisoft. It is what it is. It happened. I'm not pressed about it. I can still do content without doing the early access build. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say that I have played a crap ton of Siege in Year 6, because I haven't. I played a fair amount during Crimson Heist when Flores dropped. I played a little bit when Thunderbird came out during Northstar. And after Northstar, I kind of ghosted the game a little bit. I think I only had like 30 games of ranked during Crystal Garb, which is when Osa dropped. And I really didn't play high caliber much at all until towards the end of the season. I was sitting around like gold 1, and then I managed to make a push for like plat 2 towards the end of high caliber, which was cool. And then I had dog shit placements and performances in my in my game so far in Demon Vale. So now I'm sitting around gold 2, which is awesome, you know? Totally not an embarrassing situation to be in. Totally not upset about that at all. R6 tab with 10,000 profile visits. Yeah, really, I feel great. Feel great about that. But I needed a break. I needed a mental and physical break from Siege. I didn't think that I would be pivoting back to it as fast as I have recently. I thought I could get the Valorant agent how-tos done within the time frame that I allotted myself by about mid-April. And I was under the impression the Valorant stuff was kind of hitting it off after the Chamber how-to dropped, which is sitting around like 70k hits. I thought, you know, the only trajectory was up, and that's not what's happened. You know, some of the Valorant agent how-tos following Chamber have not performed very well at all. You know, weeks of time spent to basically get half the income is just not freaking worth it. And I know a lot of people are probably confused as to why I would even need a break or even pivot from the game in the first place, right? Because it's my job, and a lot of people would like to be in the position that I'm in to do what I do. The truth is, I've been very frustrated with the game. I've been very frustrated with the direction it's been going in terms of balance, in terms of especially the way the cheating situation has been handled. I don't think enough has been done on that front, and it only took until recently for me to really get the impression that Ubisoft was targeting the right priorities for the game's health long term. Because in Year 6, it was like, you know, you're only getting one agent now, right? You've conditioned the community into getting 2 new agents with a brand new map and brand new guns for a significant period of time. Then it was no new maps. Then it was no new guns. And yeah, I think there's a reason it's kind of upset people recently, and a lot of the balance stuff in recent memory hasn't been particularly popular. There's a lot of changes that have taken place that haven't been popular. There's more changes that in my estimation, that have been unpopular than popular. That, like, there have been decisions that are, regardless of whether they're the correct decision or not. And that's frustrating because at its core, Siege is a competitive game and needs to be competitively balanced. I do believe in trickle-down balancing. I do think the game needs to be balanced at the competitive level. I just don't think that there's certain priorities in terms of balancing that I think Yubi is kind of ignoring in favor of data and theory over practice, which happens a lot. Happens a lot more than people think in many avenues of business, and the gaming industry is not immune to it. And so I think mainly as a result of the cheating situation, which impacts a lot of people at a high level of play, because cheaters tend to get to higher ranks, you know, because they're cheating. A lot of people are under the impression that the game is going to die soon. The player count is going up. It's not a crazy amount, right? It's nothing revolutionary. Overwatch, comparably, is still doing pretty well in terms of player count. If you want to just go off a player count as a measure of a game's health alone, you could make the argument that Overwatch is doing fine. And we all know how people feel about Overwatch right now. So I don't think that's a fair argument. A little game came out that you might have forgotten about, Rainbow Six Extraction. And as soon as Rainbow Six Extraction dropped, we finally had confirmation on a brand new map that we haven't had since Villa came out. Not a map rework, a brand new freaking map. And it just so happens that we stopped getting new maps when Villa came out, around the time of Operation Chimera, which was when they released the zombie mode. And then people said, hey, this zombie mode is pretty dope. And then Ubi said, let's make a whole game out of it. Now, I understand that there's been a lot of arguments made at an official level that say, okay, dev, like, prioritization in terms of staff isn't affecting the rate of content at which, I'm sorry, the rate of content production for Siege. But, like, come on. I think that if you look at the sheer size of the maps in Extraction and compare it to the lack of map content that we've had in Siege, there's got to be, you have staff members, you have developers that have the skills and have the ability to create these things that we're working on Extraction that we're working on Siege. So I think the timing is a little too convenient there, and that's just an assumption. I don't have any evidence, but that's just my assumption. So I'm assuming that as a result of Extraction getting dropped, probably some dev prioritization has been allocated back to Siege again, and that's why the Year 7 roadmap looks the way it does. That's why we're getting a firing range. That's why we're getting new maps. That's why we got Deathmatch added relatively recently. So the Year 7 roadmap actually looks really good. I don't have a lot of complaints about that. Maybe aside from the last operation this year, which is going to not have any new map stuff at all. I don't really know how that's going to go down. But I am content with doing Siege content for just a little bit longer. I understand that it might be confusing for people that came here recently for the Valorant content. I am still trying to figure out how to deal with that. It's just going to take me some time. It might not happen as quickly as people would like, but that's just the nature of it. I can't do a million things at once. I don't have a hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z, even though sometimes I wish I did. But yeah, just a little commentary video for you guys to keep you in the loop with what's going on. We do have a streaming schedule. Check out the Twitch channel in the description. Pretty much every weekday, if I can help it. We're streaming Siege. We're playing some ranked. We're doing the stuff. I'll see you guys whenever you decide to come through to that stream. And thank you for listening to my ramblings, and I will catch you next time. Deuces.